Hello, welcome to Papa Nick's Music. I am, as always, your host, Papa Nick Lewis, and today we're talking about some more underrated albums. Last week, I talked about some albums that I like that I think are underrated, in that they are lesser known or lesser respected releases from established artists, right? They're albums that, for one reason or another, people tend to skip over when they're talking about the artist, and I don't think we should do that. I think we should give these albums the respect they deserve. This week, I'm taking a slightly different tack. This week, I am talking about albums that I think it's entirely possible you have never heard of. And so they're unrated because they're unknown, or underknown, I should say. They're not completely unknown, but you know what I mean. The poster child for this type of album would be Paul Williams' surf music. Not the Paul Williams you're thinking of, the Paul Williams who is a comedian and musician in New Zealand. I did a whole video about this album quite some time ago. I love this. I adore this album. I think it's a wonderful album, and I strongly encourage you to give it a listen. But I'm also willing to bet that unless you've watched that video, or unless you're a viewer in New Zealand, there's a good chance you don't you don't know who this guy is. So that's what I'm talking about today. Albums by artists that you may not be aware of, or if you're aware of the artist, you may not be aware that this album exists. Okay? Cool. As with last week, I'm not worried about doing a subjectivity notice. Obviously, I'm talking about stuff that I like here. I'm not making any sort of relative quality judgments or anything like that. Also, like last week, you should not read anything into the order of the albums. I'm not presenting them in any sort of ranked list or anything like that. It's just, this is they're in the order that I pulled them off my CD shelf, right? It's just, by the time I got them over here to work with them, they were in this order, so that's the order that they're in. Okay? Okay. So no need for a subjectivity notice. Okay. My first album from 2008 is an album by an artist named Eli Paperboy Reed. Eli Paperboy Reed and the True Loves Roll With You. I love this album. This is good old 60s soul and rhythm and blues music. I mean, he's channeling Sam and Dave. Okay, it's that kind of music, and it's wonderful. He does have a tendency to rely on the opening kind of yell. Okay, you can tone that down a little bit. But the songs are wonderful. The musicianship is wonderful. He's got a fantastic horn section playing with him on this thing. If I'm going to pick out songs for a particular notice, they would be Stake Your Claim, Am I Wasting My Time, and the almost title track, I'll Roll With You. It's good music. He wrote the bulk of the songs that are on here, and he's a wonderful singer. Got a lot of he's dripping with soul. I love this stuff. I love Eli Paperboy Reed. I have several of his albums, but I picked this one because it was the first one that I heard. It may be the first one that he released. I didn't look that up. There's a crawl down here explaining it if I'm way off the mark. My first album of today, Eli Paperboy Reed and the True Loves Roll With You from 2008. Album number 2. I've talked about this artist before. I included him in my favorite guitarists because he is one of my favorite guitarists. I was very disappointed. Well, not really disappointed. A little saddened to read on social media just a couple of days ago that Herschel Yadovitz is no longer going to be touring with Chris Isaak. I came to know Herschel Yadovitz because he has been for the past several years the guitarist for Chris Isaak's band, took over for James Calvin Wilsey from Speak of the Devil on. I talked about Speak of the Devil last week, and that was Herschel Yadovitz is a big chunk of the reason why I love that. This is one of his solo albums. It's called Narrabeen, and it is wonderful. If you like good 60s-esque guitar, borderline surf. Oh, you're going to love this stuff. And I'm not just saying that because he was nice enough to sign it for me. I love this album. The songs that I would particularly pick out for attention are Step on It, Fast Lane, and Droplets. Droplets is really a nifty song to listen to because it's just him on his guitar. There's no other instrumentation or anything like that. A wonderful album, very strongly recommended. Narrabeen by Herschel Yadovitz from 2019. My next album, I know I've mentioned this because I'm pretty sure I referred to it in a Power Pop sampler video that I did quite some time ago. It's one of my favorite Power Pop albums, and it is, to the best of my knowledge, the only album that this artist released, and that is Insides Out by Jordan Zevon, released in 2008. Jordan Zevon, son of Warren Zevon. And this is a wonderful power pop album. Oh, fantastic. I love the songwriting. This guy's, oh, he inherited his dad's ability to turn a phrase. The songwriting is fantastic. The music is largely up tempo. It is the lyrics are largely sarcastic. I mean, this is hitting on all cylinders as far as I'm concerned. It breaks my heart that Jordan Zevon hasn't released any other albums other than Insides Out. If I'm going to pick songs out that, if you want to test them on a streaming service before you plunk down your money and buy a copy of it, I would recommend The Joke's on Me, Camilla Rhodes, I love Camilla Rhodes, and American Standard, all wonderful songs. But you can't, there no dogs on this album. Throw a Dart, it's a wonderful song. Love this album. And then finally, also on that Power Pop sampler video, I may have mentioned this because also it is one of my favorite Power Pop albums, and that is Pure Genius by the Friendly Indians. Originally, the CD was originally released in '91. It was re-released for streaming services in 2009. All four of these albums are available on streaming services. So, I first became aware of the Friendly Indians when I started watching a TV show on the USA Network for the 2008, 2009, that area somewhere. And the show is called Psych. If you've ever seen Psych, it's a wonderful TV show about a man whose his power of observation is such that he's able to solve crimes just by picking up clues that literally nobody else sees because nobody else has his level of attention to detail. But he creates a fiction that he is a psychic, and that's how he knows what he knows. And it was a fairly popular show on USA during the era when they had Monk and Burn Notice and Psych. It was in with that crowd. That show was created and produced by a gentleman named Steve Franks, who also wrote the theme for the show, and the Friendly Indians performed the theme for the show because Steve Franks was the front man for the Friendly Indians. The guitarist of the Friendly Indians, Tim Meltreger, went on to be a writer for Psych. And I thought the theme of that show was catchy. I did a little research. Who is that performing that song? I tracked down an MP3 online of the full version of the theme, which is like a minute and a half, 2 minutes long. And then did a little more searching and came across their website and ordered a copy of this. Tried to get a copy of their first album, Greetings from Lake Dolores, but they were sold out by the time I got to them, and they haven't printed more because who prints CDs anymore? But this is a wonderful, wonderful album. Good, solid power pop, solid musicianship all the way through. And again, good songwriting, very clever lyrics. Love this. If I'm going to pick out three songs that I strongly encourage you to listen to, they would be Spin, Acceptance, Speech, and almost title track, Genius. But all four of these albums, I adore all four of these albums. I regularly listen to them, and I strongly... Ooh, let's see if I can do that. Oh, yeah, you can see that. I strongly recommend all 4 of them. Like I said, they are all available on streaming services, and they deserve a much wider audience than they have. So, give them a listen. You'll thank me later. So, what albums are you thinking of that people should know about, but most people don't? Drop that comment down below. I always love hearing from you. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, I'd appreciate it if you would click the like button. If you click the like button while you're down there, go ahead and click the subscribe if you've not already done so. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to me, so I very much appreciate it. While you're down there clicking, go ahead and click the bell for notifications if you subscribe. The YouTube folks appreciate that, so on their behalf, I thank you. Thanks again for hanging out with me today, and I hope that the rest of your day is bright. See you soon.